guys, welcome to another special episode of RGBtv. Why is it special, you ask? Well, this is my first venture into the solo review. I am going to be reviewing this movie all by myself, no help from anyone else, and I have no clue what I'm doing. So please leave feedback if I'm doing it right, if I'm doing it wrong. What do you guys think about it? Let me know. But today, I've got a review for you for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows. Now the first half of this video is going to be a spoiler-free review, and as we get into it, I'm going to give out a spoiler warning, so don't worry about spoilers yet. I will tell you when the spoilers are coming, so be warned if you haven't already seen the movie. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows, it's a follow-up to the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which surprisingly a lot of people didn't like, and I'm not sure why. I really had a good time with it. There was obvious flaws, and there are flaws in this movie as well, but I really enjoyed the first one. The same goes for this one. I thought this one was a very fun movie. It was, I had a good time at the theaters. I was laughing a lot. There was a lot of scenes that made me laugh. There was a lot of scenes that were just full of fun, full of action, and I really liked it, especially coming from a place. I used to watch the Turtles cartoons growing up. Now, I wasn't a hardcore Turtles fan, but I did enjoy the cartoons, and I really liked them. I played a lot of the video games. Dude, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, hands down, one of my favorite Turtles games. And, so I like the Turtles, and I really liked this movie and the direction that they took with it. As for the story of this movie, well, it follows, again, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this time Shredder has returned, and he's being helped by quite a few people, quite a few new players in the game, and they have to try and stop him. Now, as for the story, to me, at some points it felt very lazy, very lazy writing. It kind of just explaining away things that normally you would be like, wait, how did that happen? How did this happen? But it didn't take away from the story for me. It was a bit of lazy writing, but it made the movie feel more fast-paced because they just wanted to get on to the next scene. It wasn't that long of a movie. It was a fast-paced movie, and the story, it was fun. It was a fun story. So let's talk about the characters for a little bit. Starting with, of course, the main characters of the movie, the Turtles. The Turtles themselves. I thought this movie absolutely nailed their characters. I thought the first one did really well with their characters, especially the famous elevator scene. That was like, I laughed so hard when I saw that the first time, and I thought, like, these are the Turtles. And this movie, it does a really good job differentiating the Turtles from each other. They were teenagers. They were always quipping, making jokes.
You do guys like a thing?
Acting like children and just having fun. And that's something that I really liked about this movie. It's just the way they portrayed the characters, the Turtles. I thought it was awesome, and I had a great time watching them on screen. One of the new players this time around is Casey Jones. Casey Jones this time was played by the Green Arrow himself, Stephen Amell. He didn't really do much in the movie, but his screen time was pretty short, and they didn't really delve too deeply into his character backstory. He wasn't a fully realized Casey Jones, besides that being his name. But other than that, Stephen Amell, I think he did fine as Casey Jones. Like I said, they didn't really delve too deep into his character, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him in the next movie. Hopefully he'll be the full-fledged vigilante that we came to love in the classic 80s movie. April O'Neil is back. Megan Fox playing April O'Neil again. She was okay. I liked her better in this one than in the first one for sure. She kind of had more of a helping role in this movie. One thing I like about this movie is how the Ninja Turtles were the main characters of the movie. They didn't take a back seat to Megan Fox like they did in the first one, which I thought one of the big flaws of the first one. But this one, she kind of took a backseat to the Turtles, which is how it should be. She pretty much was there just to help them. She gave them necessary information. She was kind of sleuthing around as an investigative journalist, which is what she was. And so I kind of like her role a little better in this movie. And I think she did an okay job as April O'Neil this time around. Now let's get into the villains of the movie. There's quite a few of them. Starting off with Shredder. They picked a new actor this time around to play the Shredder. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But honestly, I prefer the old Shredder. That actor he just seemed so menacing. And he's just somebody that you did not want to run into. He just seemed buff and huge. And he was angry. And you did not just want to mess with him. Compared to this new guy who plays the Shredder, he kind of seems a little short. He doesn't seem as buff as the old Shredder. He wasn't really as menacing. They tried to portray him as the worst villain of all time, the most dangerous villain, in the world. And I didn't get that from his performance as the Shredder. He kind of played a backseat in this movie too. He didn't really do much. He kind of sent other people to do his dirty work, and he had very little screen time because of that. I would have preferred to see more of the Shredder in this one. Now, our next duo of villainy. We've been wanting these guys ever since the original Turtles, actually Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. We've been wanting these guys to come out in a movie, and we haven't gotten it until now. That's right, Bebop and Rocksteady. Now, these guys were fun. They were fun to watch on the big screen. I found it a little weird how their animal versions were way more clumsy and way more buffoony than when they were humans.
You're a rhinoceros!
And you're a...
Huh. I'm a little pig.
Every scene that they were in, it was very fun. All of the action scenes, they were pretty funny. They kept kind of bouncing back and forth jokes at each other, and I thought it was pretty awesome. It was so good to finally see them on the big screen, and I had a fun time watching their characters. Now, we're going to get into spoilers. For those of you who don't watch trailers, this guy was in the trailer. For those of you who still haven't seen the movie, this is when the spoiler alert is coming. We're going to be talking about the big bad of the movie, and that is Krang.
I was expecting mustache, maybe evil goatee or something.
Very used to the cartoon Krang, with a very high-pitched, very squealy and screechy voice. But this time around, he was voiced by Brad Garrett, who is very known for his very deep, very full of bass voice. And it didn't really bother me that much that his voice was very different from the cartoons. I think Brad Garrett did a fine job voicing Krang. Visually speaking, he looked pretty cool on the big screen. It kind of bothered me a bit how much Krang was just floating outside of the stomach as opposed to being inside of the big robot mech suit. But other than that, Krang, he was pretty cool. He was a pretty cool villain. He had a master plan. He knew what he was doing. Then again, some of the problems that this movie faced, if we're going to start talking about the negatives, things I didn't really like, it was characters like Casey Jones, characters like the Shredder, characters like Krang. They didn't really have that much screen time. I wish they would have appeared more in the movie. That's not to say cut into the Turtles' time to add more of them. Just make the movie a little longer. Add more scenes with the Shredder being awesome, and with Casey Jones donning the hockey mask a little more, and with Krang, just a much longer final battle with Krang would have been awesome. I mentioned earlier in the review about the lazy writing. What I meant by that was that sometimes they just knew things without any explanation, really. April O'Neil, she knew exactly where to find the ooze and Bebop and Rocksteady. How does she know? Who knows? Donatello just punches in a few things into the computer, and somehow he knows the name of the ship, the name of the commander, Krang, and all about Dimension X and some other, universe, some other dimension, and he somehow knows about it because of his computer technology. Doesn't really make sense. They get phone calls here. Oh, Bebop and Rocksteady are in Brazil. How do they know that? They don't really explain. So it kind of feels like lazy writing, but because of it, I feel like the movie is more fast-paced. It just gets to the point instead of just explaining all the details. Shredder was very underwhelming in this movie. Like I said, he has very little screen time. He just takes a backseat to Bebop and Rocksteady and to Krang. I found it very odd how the first time he meets Krang, an alien from another universe, another dimension, he has no reaction. He just stares at him like, who are you? And, you know, it was very unnatural. He didn't even, and right when you think that Shredder is about to show down a big epic fight between Shredder and Krang, who betrays him at the end, instantly frozen in carbonite. Shredder was just so underwhelming. At least the first one, yeah, everyone complains about the giant Transformers Shredder suit. I liked it. It was a big, menacing Shredder. He was dangerous. You didn't even want to walk near him because you might get sliced by one of his blades. It was an awesome final battle with Shredder. In this movie, Shredder didn't really do anything. And it was very disappointing. Very underwhelming performance by the actor. Very little screen time with the Shredder. He just got taken out at the end super quick. He didn't really do anything in the movie. I was very disappointed by that. Now, as for the positives, this movie had a lot of positives, for me at least. The turtles themselves, the way they would interact with each other, and it's just every single time they were on screen, I was laughing out loud in the movie theaters. Just the things that especially with Michelangelo, he's like the best in these movies. And I thought it was very fun. Just seeing them on screen, and the actors who played them in the motion capture suits, their voiceover work and their performances, it was very cool. I really enjoyed how they did the turtles. All of the fight scenes, all the action scenes too, they were pretty awesome. From the fight scene with Bebop and Rocksteady in the Brazilian forest with the big old tank, you see that in the trailer, the big old tank coming out of the river and just them fighting. There's even a fight with Casey Jones and Bebop and Rocksteady, which I thought was pretty cool too. And the final battle with Krang, it was pretty awesome. It was a little too short, but it was pretty awesome. I really liked it. And the fan service, my god, is there just awesome fan service. The Easter eggs in this movie. There's the classic, one of the turtles, I think it was Donatello. He had the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun ringtone. The classic jingle from the cartoons, and even the Turtlemobile, the giant, built up turtle truck. It had, Baxter Stockman, soon to be Baxter the Fly, hopefully in the next movie, and it just had a bunch of things to please the fans of the old cartoon especially. So I would totally, my overall feelings on this movie, there was some negative stuff that I didn't really like the underwhelming performance of the Shredder, some of the lazy writing. Other than that, the turtles were pretty awesome. They were super awesome. I really liked their interactions, their character struggles too, struggling about how to work together as a team even better, whether they want to be human or they want to stay as turtles. All that stuff plays into the movie very well, and I would totally recommend it. It's probably a movie that I would buy on Blu-ray. It's a solid movie. I enjoyed it. I had such a good time watching it. And if I had to rate it, I would give it 7 pizza slices out of 10.
Cowabunga!
So guys, this was my first solo review. Let me know what you guys think about it. Do I know what I'm doing? If I'm doing it right, let me know. If I'm doing it wrong, please let me know. Did you guys agree with me about the movie? Whatever it is, just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, please subscribe, and just let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one.
Teenage Mutant